What's up, guys? It's 4-Day/Roblox, and today I'm gonna be predicting all the games that's gonna happen on Super Wildcard Weekend. This will be my first ever sports playoff predictions because for the past 2 years I've been just streaming PS4 and mobile games. I'll also do NBA playoffs predictions, which will be later in May. Be sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first game I'm gonna end to is the Colts and the Bills. This should be a pretty interesting game. These two teams didn't meet each other this season, but the Colts are top 10 offense, defense, passing, and rushing. Phillip Rivers has had a pretty solid season this year, throwing for 24 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor has been solid this year, rushing for over 1,000 yards and scoring 11 touchdowns. The receiving has been good but not great. The reason why I'm saying this is because none of their three starting wide receivers, T.Y. Hill, Zach Pascal, or Michael Pittman, have come close to 1,000 receiving yards this season. And what's worse is that they're up against a really good passing defense, which features Tre'Davious White and Micah Hyde. The Colts' defense has been good this season. The defense consists of Justin Houston, who's been solid this year with 8 sacks, to Forrest Buckner, who's also been solid with 9.5 sacks. Darius Leonard, who's been kind of iffy with 3 sacks, and Xavier Rhodes, who's been okay this season with only 2 interceptions. The Bills, on the other hand, have been great. Josh Allen has been playing at an MVP level this season, throwing for 37 touchdowns against 10 interceptions. Good enough for him to finish top 5 in passing yards. The Bills' offense overall has been very good, except for the ground game, because Devin Singletary hasn't been great this season, not even getting close to 1,000 yards and only scoring 2 touchdowns. But what the wild position has been great. Stephon Diggs proved that he needed to leave Minneapolis by leading the league in receiving yards, and also Cole Beasley, who came close to hitting the 1,000-yard mark, and he scored 4 touchdowns. So, looking at this game, the Bills have been using the passing game a lot this season, and their defense finished top 5 in takeaways. The Colts' defense has also been great in terms of takeaways, but what the Colts are going to face in this game is the Bills' offense. Phillip Rivers has made some terrible decisions when trailing, and it will be very difficult for him to come back against this Bills defense if Phillip Rivers makes a lot of mistakes. The Colts are a decent team, but they don't have enough strength to get past the Bills offensively and defensively. Offensively, the wideouts will have a lot of trouble against a good passing defense, and on the flip side, the defense will have trouble on one-on-one matchups with Stephon Diggs. Oh, and also for the fact that the state of New York is finally allowing fans to attend Bills playoffs games, and that will be another disadvantage for the Colts. So, unfortunately, I won't trust Phillip Rivers against this Bills defense, and also he won't retire as a champion, and that's going to suck for him, and I kind of feel bad. So, I have the Bills winning this game, but it could still be close as long as the Colts defense kind of steps up a bit. But either way, I'm saying the Colts winning that game. Next game we're going to go into is the Rams and Seahawks. This should be a really intense matchup. These two teams split the season series, and both of their contests were close, low-scoring games. Okay, so the Rams' offense has been solid this year, but they'll have 2 problems in the position. Jared Goff suffered a thumb injury against this same team, and even if he plays, since he's questionable, he'll have a tough time against a Seattle defense which hasn't been great, but has been getting better. He'll have to face Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner all game long. Also, Cooper Kupp missed last week's game against the Cardinals since he was on the COVID list. On the flip side for the Rams, they have the number one defense. That's thanks to Aaron Donald. But the problem is that Aaron Donald has only sacked Russ once during the season series, and also the pass. Also, how will they get to Russ? Because Russell Wilson has been able to cook against red hot defenses, although he's been the third most sacked quarterback in the league this season. We all saw that epic Monday nighter against the 49ers last year when the Seahawks wound up driving to field goal range to kick the game-winning field goal when time expired. Also, how will Jalen Ramsey do against DK Metcalf? Because in the season, he didn't even pick off Russell Wilson, but he only defended one pass. And DK Metcalf has scored 10 touchdowns overall this season. He eclipsed 1,000 yards. Going back to the Rams offense, John Wolford, who took over for Jared Goff last week, wasn't great, but he was good. The reason why I'm saying this is because his passer rating was kind of iffy, but he used his legs, in which impacted the game. The Rams offensively will have a huge disadvantage against this improving Seattle defense, and for the fact that Jared Goff was out last week with a thumb injury and Cooper Kupp was on the COVID list. On the flip side, the Rams will pressure Russell Wilson a lot in the game, but as long as Russell Wilson keeps passing the ball to DK, I think they'll have success. And for the fact that Russ has been against really good defenses, he's fought through them. But yeah, if I had to guess, I would have to go to the Seahawks. Stupid ads. I don't want to be part of the ads. Yeah. Although the Seahawks won't have fans in the stands, this game should be close. Also, Russell Wilson has only been one and done in the postseason once in his 9-year tenure with the team. All right. So the next game we're gonna head to is the Buccaneers and the Washington game. I expect this game to be a no contest, although these two teams didn't meet in the regular season. Yeah, but it's not fair that an 11-5 Buccaneers team has to travel to a sub-500 Washington football team. Going to this game, the Buccaneers have one of the best offenses in football, thanks to Tom Brady. This is a playoff payoff for Tampa Bay, as they moved on from Jameis Winston, who tossed 3 interceptions last season. Brady has thrown 40 touchdown passes against 12 interceptions this season. He has been on fire for the last 3 games of the 2020 season, passing for over 300 yards in each of the final 3 games, including a 4-touchdown, 350-yard game against the Lions in Week 16 in the first half alone. Ronald Jones has been great this year, scoring 7 touchdowns and almost eclipsing 1,000 yards. The O-line has been excellent this year. Tristan Wirfs has done a great job keeping the 43-year-old Tom Brady in the pocket longer and has only allowed 1 sack all season. In the wild position, Mike Evans has been his usual, although he's questionable for this game, as he injured his knee last Sunday against the Falcons. But Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Gronk have been solid, but if not solid, they've been great. Washington, on the other hand, their offense has been terrible due to their poor quarterback play, and that's why they released Dwayne Haskins a couple weeks ago. Antonio Gibson destroyed the Cowboys' defense on Thanksgiving Day. Alex Smith has been dealing with a calf injury, and it'll be very difficult for him as he faces a pretty good Buccaneers defense, which features Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, and Antoine Winfield. Even Ron Rivera talked about potentially rotating Alex Smith with Taylor Heineke. On the flip side, Washington's defense has been great thanks to Chase Young, along with Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen. The Buccaneers have struggled against heavy rushing defenses. I mean, look what the Saints did to them this season. They've intercepted Tom Brady 5 times in the season series, and yeah, but the O-line has been great ever since, and Brady has been getting better each week from there. I have Chase Young getting 1 sack in the game, but yeah, I think I have the Buccaneers winning this game. And again, the stupid ads. This is why I do not like ads. Yeah, but yeah, I don't see Brady losing to a sub 500 team in his first playoff game with a different team, and even if he doesn't do that much, the defense will do all the work. Also, the Washington football team's defense has slowed down in the past few games. They somewhat lost to the Panthers in Week 16, and they narrowly beat the Eagles thanks to Doug Peters' stupid decision to bench Jalen Hurts in the second half. They also couldn't do anything to Russ in Week 15. Yeah. Next game we're going to go into is the Ravens and Titans. This should be an epic revenge game for Lamar Jackson and what Derrick Henry did to this team last year in the playoffs and earlier this season. He destroyed their defense in last year's divisional round game, and he scored the walk-off touchdown in overtime earlier this season. This is the game that really gets me, and here's the reason why. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson has finally picked up his game for the last 2 games. He struggled earlier this season, and he missed the game thanks to him getting tested positive for COVID during Thanksgiving. And the defense has been really good, but how will they stop Derrick Henry? That will be the huge question. I mean, the dude is like 240 pounds, and he stiff up anyone who's standing in his way. Yeah, we all saw what he did to Josh Norman back in Week 5 on that Tuesday night. I remember watching that game, and I laughed as hell. Ryan Tannehill has also been solid and has been playing and relying on A.J. Brown all season long. On the Titans' defense, however, they haven't been great. The Titans' weakness has been the pass rush and the coverage. I expect the same to be. I expect the game to be in the 20s for the score and to be close just because of both offenses. But it could be the defense. But God, this game is going to be a hard one for me to choose. Lamar Jackson has struggled in the playoffs, but playing against this year's rushing champion will be difficult. The Titans also have an advantage as they're playing in front of socially distant fans at home. I can choose either team, but for now I'm going to give it to the Titans, and maybe next year I'll give it to the Ravens, but for right now I'm going to give it to the Titans. The next game I'm going to go into is the Browns and Steelers. This should be a really interesting matchup, but a no contest. The reason why I'm saying it'd be a no contest is because of the Browns, which I'll get into soon. These two split the season series with the Steelers losing last week against this same team because they rested Big Ben. And these two teams also met back in Week 16 with the Steelers destroying the Browns. And yeah, now the reason why I say this game will be a no contest is because of COVID. It has struck the Browns really hard. It struck their head coach Kevin Stefanski and offensive tackle Joel Bitonio. And Olivier Vernon, another offensive tackle, tore his Achilles tendon. And it sucks that the Browns' first playoff appearance since 2002 has been impacted by bad luck. And for the Steelers, T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward were also rested last week, and Baker Mayfield needs to be smart with the football when he's in the pocket, and it'll almost be really hard for him without his head coach Kevin Stefanski. But on the flip side, the Steelers have picked up its rhythm as they beat the Colts in Week 16. The rushing game isn't used as much, and that's why they're dead last in rushing offense. But the Steelers have great wideouts in Chase Claypool, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, and Juju Smith-Schuster. The Steelers have an advantage on offense because the defense has been solid. But if Roethlisberger and the offense picks it up, I think they'll get the advantage. The defense also gets the advantage because, like I said, Kevin Stefanski is out and Baker Mayfield can make the bad decisions in the pocket. So I have the Steelers winning this game. But it could be close. You never know. I'm going to say the Steelers. Yeah, I don't know why I'm even using this app. Stupid ads. Don't want ads. Alright. Going to the divisional rounds. Wait, I might have skipped a game. Hold up. Yeah, the Bears and Saints. Yeah, I don't expect that game to be a contest, although these two teams met back in Week 8 with the Saints winning in overtime. I'm saying this because Mitch Trubisky, who's been stepping up his game, is going against a ferocious Saints secondary, which features Cameron Jordan and Demario Davis. The Bears' O-line has also had some struggles this year, and that's why Nick Foles got injured again. The Bears are also lacking receivers because Allen Robinson is clearly the only weapon on offense doing the work, and I probably won't trust Allen Robinson against Marshawn Lattimore, who will likely be covering him. But on the other side, the Saints offense has been good. Alvin Kamara has been great, and that's why he scored 6 touchdowns on Christmas Day. Michael Thomas, who's questionable for this game after missing some time this year due to injury, and the Saints also have Sanders, Latavius Murray, and Jared Cook. Roquan Smith and Khalil Mack played a role in the Week 8 game. The Bears want to do much defensively in this game because of their good in Saints O-line, and Ryan Ramczyk is a good O-line for lineman for the Saints. The Saints' only disadvantage in this game is Drew Brees, and the reason why I'm saying that because he's often hesitant in the pocket. But as long as the O-line does its job and uses the rushing game fluently, I think the Saints will win this game, especially that there's fans in the Superdome. So, yeah, I have the Saints winning this game. Alright, now to the divisional rounds. First game I'm going to go into is the Titans and Chiefs. This should be a really fun matchup. These two teams didn't meet in the regular season, but they did meet in the playoffs last year. The Chiefs' defense has struggled, but last year, they were down by like double-digit points. They managed to come back thanks to their defense, and obviously Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, Derrick Henry is gonna have another solid game because the Chiefs' defense was like 16th, 15th, I don't know, in defense, one of those numbers. And also, because the Titans' defense isn't really good, expect the Chiefs to drop 30-plus points in this game. Tyreek Hill will have 2 touchdowns, and Travis Kelce will get 1 touchdown in that game. That's my prediction for both of those guys. This game is probably going to be entertaining, but the Chiefs get the advantage because they're playing at home in front of socially distanced fans, and for the fact that their Chiefs have the number 1 offense, and they're playing a terrible defense. Although the Titans will probably do well offensively, they just won't have enough superpower to get past the Chiefs. So I have the Chiefs winning this game. Next game I'm going to go into is the Steelers and Bills. This should be a really good matchup. These two teams met back in Week 12 with the Bills winning that game 26-15. The Bills' defense picked off Big Ben twice, one of them resulting in a pick six. But in this game, I still expect the Steelers to do more offensively since Juju and James Washington scored the only 2 touchdowns for in that Week 14 game. But the problem is that Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, Teron Johnson, and Levi Wallace will be in coverage for Claypool, Washington, Juice Smith-Schuster, and Chase Claypool. But on the other side, Josh Allen has been playing well, but he won't have to do much in the passing game as he has Stephon Diggs, the leading receiving yards leader. And for the fact that the Steelers have lost some players on defense, but Josh Allen will only have to worry about the Steelers' pass rush, which has T.J. Watt and Kieran Hayward. The Steelers and get the slight disadvantage on offense because of how good the Bills' defense has been, and for the fact that 2 of the 3 losses that Ben Roethlisberger faced this year were against good defenses. Once again, the team is traveling to a stadium where they will have fans, but on the other hand, the Bills' offense gets the Steelers because of the fans, and for the fact that the defense for the Steelers has regressed towards the end of the season. So I'm gonna go with the Bills. Once again, I gotta refresh my brain. Next game I'm gonna go into is the Buccaneers and Packers. This should be an epic matchup between 2 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. These 2 teams met back in Week 6 with the Buccaneers destroying this team. Back then, the Packers were up 10-0, looking like that game would be a blowout. The Buccaneers defense stepped up by making the pick 6, and then of course Buccaneers just dismantled Aaron Rodgers all game long, in that game. But overall, Aaron Rodgers has played pretty good. The only 2 losses that the Packers faced, because they finished 13-3 this season, they lost to the Vikings in Week 8 and then the Colts back in Week 11. Aaron Rodgers was solid in those games. I just think that the game against the Buccaneers back in Week 6 was his only terrible game. Aaron Rodgers has been great this season, and but I don't see the same result that happened back in Week 6 happening in this divisional round game. The Buccaneers have to fly to the frozen tundra, and although the cold hasn't affected Brady as much, it didn't affect him in the 2018 AFC Championship game, but he can still produce some offense. The Buccaneers can produce offense, but the defense will probably not be able to stop Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, or Aaron Jones. Especially that the Bucs have struggled against high-powered offenses, and that Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams, which I just mentioned, will be better than they were in Week 6. Also, the Packers are allowing a limited number of fans to Lambeau on the day that the Packers will play on divisional weekend. Also, the cold temperatures remind us back the Ice Bowl back in 67 and the 2007 NFC Championship game, which had temperature 0 degrees Fahrenheit. If this game gets cold enough, like we saw with the Titans and Packers back in Week 16, where the game was snowy, I expect the game to be low scoring. The Packers have a top 10 defense, so that should be a disadvantage for the Buccaneers, especially in the cold. And the Packers get the advantage over the Buccaneers defense. Because the Buccaneers have struggled against high-powered teams. So, Brady would really love to play the Super Bowl in his home stadium, but I just don't see that happening this year, unfortunately. So, though I give it to the Buccaneers, I'd give it to the Packers, just for now. The next thing I'm gonna head to is the Seahawks and Saints. This should be a quite intriguing matchup. Two future Hall of Famers. These two teams didn't meet this season, but for the Seahawks offense, once again, it'll be fun to see Russell Wilson face another high-powered defense. It'll also be really fun to watch DK Metcalf against Marshawn Lattimore. Both the Saints and Seahawks met in the playoffs back in 2013 when the Seahawks won that game. Russ will have to face the same challenge from what he faced the previous week. The previous week where he just had to face Aaron Donald, but now he has to face Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, and Marcus Davenport. So that will kind of be a disadvantage for Russell. And the Seahawks O-line isn't that great, and that's why Russell Wilson was like the second or third most sacked quarterback in 2020. But on the flip side, the Saints will probably not use Alvin Kamara as much for the running game, just because the Seahawks defense has gotten better. They'll use him as a receiver because I've seen the Saints use him as a receiver a lot. So the Seahawks don't really have a good passing off defense, and it'll be really hard to keep up with Emmanuel Sanders, Taysom Hill, which Sean Payton likes to use him a lot, and Holt, and I don't know Mike Thomas if he plays. I think the Saints get the advantage for both sides, especially that there's going to be fans in Mercedes-Benz Superdome, in which lights up the Saints defense. So I have to give this to the Saints. So the conference championship games, Bills and Chiefs, Saints and Packers. For the Bills and Chiefs, they should be a really intense matchup. Both of these teams met back in Week 6, and with the Chiefs winning the game by a close margin. Both of these teams have the best offense in football. And I will expect a lot of high-scoring games. The Bills have one of the best offenses, and they're playing a Chiefs defense that isn't even top 10. So, and obviously, we all know what Patrick Mahomes does. He just destroys any defense that's in his way. I mean, look what he did to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints, both of those teams which had really good defenses. So that should be a really good matchup. I could give this one to the Bills. The Bills could make a Super Bowl this year, but for right now, I just can't doubt Patrick Mahomes. The man is good. That's why he was signed to a 1-decade, $50.3 million contract this past offseason. So, especially when the defense gets lined up in the postseason under Steve Spagnuolo. So, so I have to give this one to the Chiefs. The other conference championship game we'll get into is the Saints and Packers. This should have been the matchup in the divisional round last year, but thanks to the Saints choking for a third straight time to the Vikings, that matchup never happened. But I think it's gonna happen this year. The Saints aren't used to playing in the cold because they play in a dome, and they play in the NFC South. So, and that will kind of affect them. But the Saints offense has been good. The Packers defense has been solid, but I mean, they haven't been at that dominant level, so that will kind of be a little disadvantage for the Packers. So I think the Saints get an advantage on offense better more than the Packers on their defense. Because they're probably the Saints are gonna probably use Alvin Kamara on the ground a lot in that game. And of course Taysom Hill, Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah. I mean, the Packers aren't really that great for their passing defense. So, I think the Saints will get advantage over that. But on the flip side, once again, Aaron Rodgers playing like an MVP. They're up against a really good Saints defense. But I don't know how he's going to do. I mean, this game could very well be a shootout. It was kind of shootout back in week 2, but Packers wound up winning that game. But you might never know. It's the playoffs. I just think the Saints have slightly more Super Bowl aspirations than the Packers. These are 2 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has like 2 or 3 more years left in the league, while Drew Brees is probably gonna retire him. Maybe after the playoffs, maybe come back for 1 more year. So, just because of Drew Brees probably retiring after this year's playoffs, I think. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I think I'm gonna give this to the Saints. And then Super Bowl 55, the Chiefs and the Saints. The rematch of Week 15 hard to come back against the Chiefs if you're down by double digits. Just because you all know what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes like to do in terms of the offense. I think the Saints are gonna try and find a way to stop Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just destroys any defense he sees. But I think the Saints are gonna stop Mahomes. Even Mahomes, he's struggled against some defenses 4 times this season. Week 2 against the Chargers. Week 16 against the Falcons. What else? Week 14 against the Dolphins, where he lost like 30 yards on one play. They were down 10 points. They managed to score 30 unanswered, and then they almost blew a huge lead. And then they also Mahomes also struggled a bit. Maybe that's pretty much it. But Mahomes has struggled in a few games this year, but overall he's been excellent. But you're playing a dude that's trying to retire as a champion. Chiefs defense needs to improve in this game. Otherwise, if they're down like 10 plus points again late in the fourth quarter against the Saints team, there's no way they're coming back. The reason why they came back against the 49ers is because Kyle Shanahan kept calling stupid plays, which made the Chiefs come back. And I think Drew Brees retires as a champion. The Saints pull up a Peyton Manning and John Elway move that the Broncos did, where both of them retired as champions. So I have the Saints winning Super Bowl 55, and so that's pretty much it for me. Here's the final brackets. You had all of that. So that's my final bracket. So Chiefs and Saints in Super Bowl 55. I have the Saints winning this game. I'm trying not to be biased about this, but I just think that I just have more confidence in the Saints just because of how much they've been through of course, Minneapolis Miracle, the infamous no call, and then the Kyle Rudolph push off. I think that's all those three things are gonna motivate them to winning a Super Bowl, second and final for Drew Brees. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Do you agree with my predictions? Let me know. Anyways, it's 1:30 in the morning. I gotta go to sleep, and then I'm gonna spend the entire day on Saturday and Sunday watching playoff football. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, and also I'll be doing basketball predictions later on